That sounds very good. So how was the first feeling when you watched the Mongolian Naadam?
Well, in particular, the wrestling drew my attention. Back in 1998, I was just 1 year removed from graduating from high school, and in high school, I was a wrestler. Or at least that was one of the sports I participated in. And so, even though the style is a little different than the freestyle and American collegiate wrestling that we do in the United States, style was a little different, but the goal is still very similar. And so I particularly like the wrestling, but even the archery and the horse races all hit home to me, even though I'm not an archer. I had experience with archery, as a young kid. I was in Boy Scouts. I also come from a family with horses, and so we're all horsemen and have an affinity for horses. And so the horseback riding race, the horse race, is certainly entertaining as well. So all three competitions, all three sports, I think resonated with me. And I enjoy the competition.
That's very interesting. Sounds very good.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting festival, and hopefully the tradition continues. I especially like not just the sporting competition aspect, but in keeping tradition, I like how Mongolians will typically wear their traditional clothing, their traditional, dales and the costumes that come with a national holiday. So I think it's good to, even though if people might not dress like that every day, although I see more and more Mongolian fashion, Mongolian clothing designs incorporated into everyday clothing. And I think that's a wonderful way to adapt and to be able to retain, hold on to your heritage and your culture or your traditions, and without maybe being so either impractical, because sometimes it's not always practical to wear traditional clothing, or uncomfortable, or some people may feel awkward wearing a traditional Mongolian dale in a formal setting or an office setting, or going to school or whatnot. But I like how fashion designers, clothing companies in Mongolia now are incorporating those designs to where it's acceptable and normal to be able to wear Mongolian clothing in everyday settings in this modern world. So hopefully I see more and more of that.
Sounds very fascinating. Yeah. So
well, I like it. I like to retain a little bit of that.
Do you have any tradition costume, like Mongolian clothing?
Sure. I've got a couple of dales. One of them I had made for my first Saransar, for the first Lunar New Year celebration back in 1998. So it's an old, 22 years old. I've got another one that I accumulated along the way, and some other traditional clothing. But unfortunately, mine's more, traditional. It's not like the modern style that you can wear very easily at work or in a social setting, everyday setting. So I need to update my wardrobe, I think, if I want to have Mongolian styled clothing to be able to wear, like I said, every day or in the business setting or whatnot. But yeah, I have a few hats, a couple of pairs of boots, a jacket, a few things. So So I enjoy getting it out every once in a while and wearing it if it's a special occasion.
Okay. So what's the difference Mongolian Naadam festival than in other countries' festivals? What's the difference? What's the special, do you think?
Oh well, every country, uh, when it's a traditional festival such as Naadam, every country obviously has their own uh, unique styles. I think the Mongolian Naadam, it's to me the unique thing is that it continues for so long. This year is an exception in that this year they're celebrating all Naadam festivals throughout the country during the same time. You know, during one, a 3 day plus period. It's more than 3 days. It's usually about a week. But this year, in years past, if you recall, you'll have the Somi Naadam or the Naadams out in the villages and in the countrysides at a different time, often earlier than the main Naadam that's held in Ulaanbaatar city. And so it becomes a month-long festival in that, people go to the countryside and celebrate Naadam, and then they come in the city and celebrate Naadam. And so they're gone from work for an entire month. And then typically after Naadam, Mongolians will take off and go to the countryside or on vacation. And so literally for at least a month, summers are very unproductive from a business and operations standpoint in Mongolia. It could be very, very frustrating if you're trying to get work done in the summer and you need a permit from the government, or you need you're waiting for a court date for a case, or even if you just need a signature or something, because the people you need can't be found. They're all celebrating Naadam for the entire month of July. But I understand, and I think when you have to enjoy the summer months in Mongolia when it's there, the good weather, because you have so many months of cold weather in Mongolia that when it's warm, I think it's a good idea to celebrate. Travel a bit to the countryside, spend some time out in the outdoors with family, and I think that's the uniqueness of Naadam, is it ends up being a significant portion of the country essentially shuts down because during July, because so many people are not at work.
Yeah, I see. That's true. So how do you motivate yourself during the lockdown? So how's the situation there? Can you tell me about it a little bit?
Well, I've got mixed feelings about the lockdown. Obviously, nobody would enjoy having their freedom of movement restricted. Nobody likes to be told, especially by a government, that they can't go to work or they can't go to school. And so I have rather libertarian political philosophies that I believe in, and I don't appreciate or I don't even believe that the government has the right to do that, to close your business or to declare your business unnecessary and needs to close. For me, as a personal standpoint, it affected me in several ways directly. It affected my business. It affected my ability to travel. Obviously, I actually, back in March, when Mongolia had instituted a border restriction, a travel restriction, and a lockdown back in March, I could see that it was going to be indeterminate. It was going to be locked down for an unknown length of time. And I didn't want to be isolated from some of my family members, my children in particular, who live here in the United States. And so not wanting to be separated from them for a long time, I got a ticket on a charter evacuation flight and came back here to the United States. And now I'm just waiting anxiously to return to Mongolia and resume my life there and resume my businesses there and my friendships and activities. And, right now that's where my life is. And so I'm anxious to get back. With these lockdowns, I understand people's fears, but there comes a point when it can become excessive, and we lose our perception of reality and logic. My personal opinion is yes, it's tragic that so many people have lost their lives from COVID-19, and my sympathy goes out to anybody affected directly or indirectly. But even more so than the deaths, I think we're self-imposing hardships, economic hardships. We're causing more deaths than we're preventing. Economically, poverty is a much greater killer than COVID-19. And throughout the world, by intentionally collapsing and intentionally sabotaging the economy like our governments have, we're causing so many more people to suffer. And so I don't think there's a lot of logic in that, especially when this COVID-19 has proven, well, albeit it is a dangerous and infectious disease, but it doesn't affect most people. The vast majority of people are not affected. And so I think there's better ways of being able to protect those who are vulnerable without destroying our economy, without canceling educational institutions, schools, colleges. Some of the measures that we've taken, I think, are counterproductive. And so, that's just my personal opinion. I think we've gone a bit too far, but I'm glad to see Mongolia and my friends in Mongolia safe in that regard. I think they're being hurt in other ways as well. However, unfortunately, because of these lockdowns, I mean, there's still businesses that are not allowed to open. And anytime your freedom and your liberties to be able to earn a living, to run your business, and to feed your family are arbitrarily restricted by governments, I don't support that. And so it's sad to see people who are unable to work or unable to run their businesses because of that. But hey, at least Mongolians are safe from one infectious disease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, here also I'm stuck here for quite like 4 months. So I'm still waiting to when I will get flight. So yeah.
Well, at least you have a red Mongolian passport, and so there are opportunities for you to get back if you choose to go on one of those charter flights. For me, because my passport is a different color, I'm not able to get through the border in Mongolia, and so. But hey, we make the best with with the hand that we've been dealt, and the cards that we've been given, and so. I'm just trying to make the best of my time here, spending a lot of time with my kids, trying to work remotely, and enjoying the summer here back in the United States and close to my family.
I see. It looks like you are very active with your family.
Well, especially particularly this this summer, being on a 4-month-long, I don't want to call it vacation because I've been obviously doing work here from the United States, but certainly I'm trying to take advantage. Since 2017, I've been living separately from my children after following a divorce with their mother, and so they came back here to the United States to go to school. I stayed in Mongolia to continue to pursue my career, and so I've had to travel back to the United States once every quarter or so to be able to see and visit them and to spend time with them. And so now it's been an extended time, and I, of course, try and make the best of that time and spend time with my kids and my family. And to me, that's where my priorities lie, and that's what's important to me. And so we try and do fun activities as often as possible, particularly in the outdoors.
I understand. Okay, so okay, I would ask one question from you.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just, they just made their goal for themselves, but they don't know how they will keep going for their goals, and they don't really, know they don't really don't know about how to be active. So what's your opinion about that? Can you tell us about this?
Well, I am a goal-oriented person. I think coming from having an upbringing, coming from a family who is highly motivated and focused on living a life with purpose and setting goals, I think I have naturally become that person now in my adult years. But I give all the credit to my parents for raising me that way. And so I remain to this day a very goal-oriented person. I have visions and dreams of and ambitions of things I want to accomplish. And so finding motivation and staying active and actively pursuing those dreams and actively pursuing those goals, to me, it's my purpose in life. And it keeps me motivated every day. There's a saying that says, if you wake up in the morning, if you wake up without a goal, go back to sleep, because there's no purpose, there's no reason to wake up if you don't wake up with the intent to better yourself, or to better the world, or to help somebody else, or to work for a goal or a dream. And so I stay focused on that, but I believe in having balance in your life. And so I put my goals not just in one area. I'm not exclusively focused on my career, or exclusively focused on my health, or exclusively focused on my family, or exclusively focused on my finances, or exclusively focused on my social life. I try and have a mix of all of those areas when I set my goals. And if you've ever seen a plate spinner, do you know what a plate spinner is? It's just a performance act where the performer will have these sticks, and then they'll spin plates on the sticks and keep them balanced, but they'll have multiple plates at a time. And I like to compare my attention to achieving my goals like a plate spinner, in that they have to touch, or they have to spin each one of those plates and give them a little bit of attention in order to keep it balanced. And if you neglect to spin, or if you neglect to touch any one of those plates, it's going to stop spinning and fall down. And so when it comes to my life's goals, I'm like a plate spinner. You have to touch every one of those plates a little bit, keep those balanced, or keep the balance for each one of those, and then you're able to successfully uh, perform the trick, or to, in my case, I'm able to keep the balance of my life in all the areas that I find important.
Wow, it's so fascinating. That sounds really great.
Well,
That's true.
it's my strategy, it's my philosophy. So
Yeah, for me also, I like to get up early. Then I like to just give to me the another motivation words every day, and I would search the words from other things like from site or from something from the book. And now during the lockdown, the last 3 months here, like everything's closed and people just need to stay home and they can't go out more than 2 kilometers. So we just need to be stay home. And you can go to this some shop and little stuff, and everything's closed just 2 weeks ago for 3 months. So during the lockdown, I was uh, I was motivating myself what I need, and I just found out these things. Like I like drawing, I like writing, and now I just wrote the little short book about the Mongolian little boy story. But this
mhm.
story, most of people they know about the story, and then I just wrote it on English, and then I found some like protection from the coronavirus. The some like knowledges I found it, and then I made the little short how to protect from coronavirus. People have to protect, right? And a little bit short advice. I just made it on the website.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I just keep going every day. I motivate myself by podcasts and webinars. And I just help the people to motivate themselves. And yeah, everything is like in the lockdown for me, it was very good chance to find out my motivation, my activities.
Yeah, I think if anybody finds themselves in a situation where they're bored,
Mm-hmm,
particularly from these lockdown restrictions,
mm-hmm.
then I think they just lack creativity. They lack motivation because, uh, as an adult in my adult life, I've found that um, there's really never a time when I'm bored. There's never a time when I have nothing to do. In fact, most of the times I uh, I often I wish for times when I could just have free time to be able to focus, or to be able to do some of the things. Maybe it's a book that I wanted to read, or maybe it's spending more time on personal enrichment, my health. Um, I think everybody should have a list in their mind, if not on paper, of things that they want to do if they have time. Uh, and if it's important enough to them, they won't even use the disclaimer if they have time. They'll make time for it. But particularly in times like this, when many of our activities are restricted, um, that's the perfect opportunity. And so people who complain about, oh, I'm gaining weight, during quarantine because I can't exercise, I find that ridiculous. I think you're just being lazy and making excuses.
Mm-hmm.
You can work on yourself in many ways, and I respect you for being able to find ways to enrich yourself, to work on projects that help yourself and others.
Yeah, that's really true. So we just can't complain for things. We just need to find out this really full free time. What do you need? What do you really like to do? Right?
Yeah, yeah. And if you really do have extra time, then that's a perfect opportunity to start something new.
Yeah, that's correct. So then there's the words like life give to us another chance, which is called tomorrow. So the people say, okay, the Sometimes let's do this tomorrow. Okay, I will start tomorrow. Okay, I will start. It never happened, seems to me,
tomorrow
Yeah.
never comes, right?
Yeah, just if you really planning something, you need to start. And if you just think I need to do these things, so you have to start on time. At least you can start step by step, and just a little bit is improves you, right?
Yeah, I
The other
agree.
things. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for joining with us today. Thank you for joining with me, and it was very great, beautiful talking with you.
Sure, it was an honor to just be invited. I know we had just a lot of small talk, but it's a pleasant conversation, and I wish you success in your podcast, and I'd be glad to join again later on as a guest. So thanks again.
You're welcome. Okay, see you next time, Garrett Wilson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy Naadam to you again.
Thanks.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Yep, you too.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye.